Hey everyone, welcome to the 13th episode of the Mean Green Gridiron podcast for the 2024 season, 13th and final episode. We made it. We made it this far. Made it as we had as many podcasts as games this year, so we're hanging our hats on that one. But I've got once again Carter joining me, and then we have our esteemed guest and solidified friend of the pod, Adam Mean Green Nation. But yeah, how's it going, guys? You guys, I guess we're. I'm not even gonna ask because I know, but yeah, we're both ready. We had a little pre-show chat, and I think yeah, we're all pretty excited about the game going on tomorrow. Adam is our
We're as,
guest. Oh, Carter's jumping. Go
we're,
ahead,
we're
Carter.
as ready as we're gonna be, man. We're as ready as we're gonna be.
Yeah,
I'm excited. Thanks for having me on. I've been wanting to talk about this. I know we had a scheduling sort of kind of thing that I didn't think I was gonna be able to talk about it. And I've been wanting to talk about it. I've been bothering my kids on the drive here. I'm like, oh, we're gonna, blah blah blah. They're like, can we stop for food there? Whatever. Anyway, I've been driving down. I'm here. I'm here for the game. We left because I have tiny children, so we stopped in Tulsa. And then, we saw like Muskogee right now. I was like, I wonder if Seth Troll went back home or something like that, just kind of scope it out. Wonder who he's rooting for. Anyway, I'm excited about the game. I think Texas State is a good team. I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited about this particular matchup. It's one of the most played matchups in our history. This is a rival. If, a lot of people are like, oh, UTSA is not a rival. Fine. SMU, they're not a rival. Fine. Texas State can be this kind of rival. We played them like 40, 50 times, whatever it is. They're from down the way. I think if you beat them, then you get free tickets to the outlet mall or something like that, at least a discount. I think that's how that works in San Marcos. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Carter, are you hyped? Are you excited?
I'm gonna go back to my last statement. I'm as ready as I'm going to be, and I'm leaving it at that.
What was it? That's real vague. I don't know what that means. Like ready? That sounds like
Man, I said at the beginning of the year, I really like a bowl win is what I think this program really needs. It's a step that we need to take. I am also excited for the matchup. I was not a fan during the Sun Belt days, so I don't really feel the weight and the magnitude of the Texas State rivalry. But I know it's there, and I know it's there for some of the older fans. So it's cool to kind of experience that as a relatively new alumni slash fan.
it's pre Sunbelt. It's before my time. I don't remember ever
Yeah,
matching.
I'm not trying to date anybody here. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not trying to date anyone on the podcast. Yeah. I do apologize.
yeah. I think this is the first time I played them in 30 years.
Yeah. Like for me, it's like I'm from San Antonio, Texas, right? And I've been to San Marcos. I know about San Marcos. And like I know the kind of people that would go there, like from my school and stuff. It was known at the time when I was there as Southwest Texas State, and it was kind of a party school, right? So like I know of it. And I also know like they thought that they were laughing at like UTSA saying we're better than you. You're never gonna make it. And so like they're sort of like they like to talk some mess, and they think that they're some football royalty. You can see some of this online between us, where they're like, "Hey, we have a real school. We got to, blah blah blah." And so it's funny because I think that they don't like UTSA, neither do we. And I think that there's some latent kind of you realize that we don't necessarily like a Texas State anymore. Although a friend of Mean Green Nation, the show, Greg, he has ties to Texas State, so I'm gonna be asking him when I see him tomorrow. I know he just got in. Like who's he rooting for there? I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna watch his face every time somebody scores a touchdown and see if he's happy or sad.
Yeah, he said he is. He's on a little bit of a cold period with his wife right now until the bowl game concludes. So, but yeah, no, I mean Texas State, like Adam and Carter alluded to, like it's the team we played more than anyone besides SMU, and up until the rivalry with SMU got renewed in 2014, Texas State was our most played opponent. So that's even kind of a new development that we played SMU more than Texas State. So yeah, Texas State, 1994 was our last year in FCS, and that's up until then we had been playing them every year for probably about a 15-year period, and a lot before that too. So all that to say, yeah, there is history, but 30 years is also a long time. So it's kind of like a renaissance or a resurrection of the rivalry. But regardless, I think this is the first in-state bowl opponent we've had. I think that's what they were saying yesterday in the media availability. It's just, I think it's a good atmosphere because you look at some of these games we played. Obviously, Boise State, that was a really fun draw. Got to see Ashton Genty before he was the man he is now, but he wasn't far off that day. But outside of Boise State, I think we've kind of been getting some sort of drab bowl opponents, not in terms of the team themselves, but in terms of the name. Obviously Miami, Ohio was not a big name opponent, and even the Troy or Utah State was not necessarily a big name, but they had Jordan Love. So either way, like this is this is an easier opponent to kind of get the fan base up for. You got some obviously in-state stuff, but like recruiting for sure. This is definitely the most relevant opponent in recruiting that we've played, in a bowl game. So, going into it, I think there's definitely some transfer portal stuff going on both sides. I think Texas State honestly has taken a bigger hit in terms of like number of players. They lost 2 or 3 stars on defense. Their star running back Mahdi, he's gone. He's going to Baylor. They have 3 receivers who all kind of almost exact same yardage this year. Cole Wilson, he's going to Baylor, Arizona. Or no, I think I have it backwards. Wilson's going to Baylor. Mahdi's going to Arizona, I think. But either way, those guys, to my knowledge, are not playing. I think there might be a few players who are in the portal for them that are playing, but for us, out is really mostly just Chandler Morris, and then Tyler Mercer's out. He's still in the transfer portal, and then obviously DT Sheffield, and then Oscar Hammond, who kind of was not playing as much towards the end of the season. But those are kind of our big 4 defections. But I think defensively we didn't lose anybody, maybe because our guys weren't very highly sought after. But I mean, I'll take Brian Nelson and Evan some of those guys. Staying as a good sign. What do you guys? I think defense has played better under interim DC Barry Odom, or sorry, not Barry Odom. What's his name? Brian Odom.
Yeah.
So Adam's giving me the so hand signal. Yeah, I mean,
well, I'm saying like a lot of that is dependent on what you think of Temple, and I think very lowly of Temple. Like Temple is, I kept saying it during the game. They're the worst offense in the league, and so we're like, oh yeah, we shut them down. Yes. You should, because you're the worst offense in the league. And if you were maybe Matt Capone's family, you're like, well, last year that maybe we're allowing the Temples. I think Temple had a lot of yards against us in that. They had a running quarterback. They came to Denton. They ran for a bunch. So you're like, well, they improved, right? It kind of got a little bit better. There is improvement. But yeah, I think I don't think that we've been playing so super amazingly well defensively. I think it's just not awful, which is a kind of a difference without a distinction. I realize, but yeah, I don't know. Carter, what do you think about that? Are you excited about defense?
You kind of touched on everything I was going to say. Like watching those last couple of games, I felt the same way where I was like, there looks to be a little bit of a shift in, I guess, tempo on the defense. But I was kind of expecting that Temple game to be a little bit more lopsided, and it wasn't. It's not really enough of a sample size for me to like overreact or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited about the changes we're making to the defense. I really love the hires from Sam Houston State that we brought in, and I think that going forward, I don't know how you could really put yourself in a better situation with recency bias. I guess with Sam Houston State like winning 10 games this year, their first year D1. I was just talking to Billy before the show about how like my whole problem with all these transfers we've been bringing in is like it always bugs me when it's guys from like Lamar and Incarnate Word and just like these smaller Texas schools. Not that those guys can't be productive, but like Adam, you kind of noted on this too before the show. Like you can't, if you always are trying to find the diamond in the rough, it's just going to leave you kind of stranded. You're going to be, it's the odds of you actually finding it go down the more you look. So I did like what I saw a little bit in the Temple game. There was a little bit of a noted kind of boost in confidence, especially getting that bowl eligibility. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's enough of a confidence boost to say I trust them to play well enough to win tomorrow, but yeah, I mean, not to keep dogging on Capone because we've done enough of that this year, but I don't really know how it could get much worse. So
Man has no job right now. He has no job.
yeah, yeah, but he's also he's got like a couple million in the bank for
He's well compensated. Yeah, he's not.
yeah.
Well, I'll say
Yeah.
this, right? Like to your point, right? Because I think it is a good one to say you don't want to keep looking for diamonds, FCS schools, whatever. Like for every, I mentioned this, Cam Scatterbo went to Sacramento State, not Cam, whatever, and then Cam Ward, obviously UIW to Washington State to Miami, Heisman runner-up. There are a lot of those guys. And so, you sort of do need to identify talent and develop talent and that kind of thing. But yeah, it does help to see, hey, look, this guy's obviously good. We're going to bring him into our program and he's going to be good, right? You do need a lot of that. You need a mix. So at this level, we don't have a lot of resources, and that includes history, like just fan support, money, or just be honest about it, money to really lure and keep the best of the best football players to Denton, Texas. So you have to find guys that are a little undersized or a little slower or just don't have a big resume, right? It's just what it is. You have to do that. What I like about the new guy, Cassidy, is that he has a history of that. He was at Missouri State. He was at Sam Houston State. And if you look at the guys, even some of the guys we got, they were not big name dudes, except for maybe Samaje Burrell, right? Because we were chasing him, and then Texas says, "Oh, we'll take him," and then he said, "Oh, yeah, I'll go to Texas." Didn't work out there. Now he's with us after a whole thing there. I think what's interesting, and I wrote about this, and I don't want to do really about transfer portal talk, but I think it's sort of relevant to the game, is that those dudes that we got, they did not grade better than our guys who played, right? Except for like Bryson Hayes, he was clearly the best edge rusher. If you put all of the Sam Houston State guys, it's the young dude that's being like recruited by Kentucky and other guys like that, big name programs.
Chris Murray.
And then it's Bryson Hayes, who's just graded just a little bit higher than like Terrell Dawkins, who I've been saying I thought he's been playing well. Terrell Dawkins, and then Jordan Shipley. Shipley on our side. Yeah. And everybody else, like Outland Jr., he was only just one level above, Rod Brown. There's a lot of these guys are saying the corners played definitely better. Rich Tejada did not play super well, according to PFF.com. But was it Armstead did, and then the other corner,
David Fisher.
Yeah, I think they're both going to come in and they're going to be like the starter. Like Trey Fields, the worst linebacker. If you get all of Sam Houston State's linebackers and all of our linebackers, and you compare them on PFF, and you can go to the site. I posted this. I posted screens of it. You can see that he was the worst, and we got him. But we're excited about him because he plays well in the system. And I think that part, getting guys prepared, you don't necessarily need to be the fastest, strongest, most amazing dude if you can execute and you play well as a team, right? If you're standing in the right place and the coach coached you up, you can get an interception just by being in the right spot, right? You don't necessarily need to run super fast. So I'm hoping that Cassidy's maybe whispered in Brian Odom's ear and some of these other guys. I don't know what it is, how they're preparing. I did see that they're going to have like a 4-3 lineup. I don't really believe that. I think it's just a lineup thing. But we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen this game.
Well,
I'm bullish.
I think they have, the last couple of weeks, they have been running, Shipley off the edge, 2-point stance. Which is kind of the position that I think he's more built for. He was like kind of a linebacker defensive end hybrid coming into Oregon. And now he's, I think, playing at his rightful spot where it's kind of that 3-4, 4-3, kind of that linebacker D hybrid where he's on the line of scrimmage, 2-point stance. He can rush the passer or go cover, a running back out of the flat, depending on, what the call is. But, Terrell Dawkins, like you said, has not played bad. Roderick Brown, Braylon Charles, they have him kind of playing defensive tackle in the depth chart, which is kind of like a, just get your best defensive lineman on the field kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, Jake Shipley at that edge position, which if you look at, Cassidy's defense, it's kind of similar where it's sort of a 3-3-5, 3-4 hybrid where you've got three true defensive linemen, three true down linemen, and then a fourth guy kind of on the edge. They had that jack position in their depth chart. I think it's what Bryce Young Hayes played, but they've also got kind of like, sometimes looks like sometimes it's down lineman, sometimes it's a guy in a 2-point stance. So I think it seems like that's the direction we're going. Basically, what I'm saying is we are going away from the stack look, and which I am very happy to see, because it's just hard to generate pressure, man. And no matter how many guys you got back there, if you got all day, good quarterback's going to get you. But I think just our depth chart. You look at our depth chart that we put out for the bowl game, and then compare it to the depth chart that Cassidy runs, that had at Sam Houston this year. It's pretty similar in terms of the positions that you see listed. It's just about exactly the same. So I think it's going to be a good transition from what Odom has kind of installed on the interim, and then going into what Cassidy runs full time. So I think I'm excited to see how the defense plays, just because I think that the players looked more natural in the spots that they've kind of been in. Shipley, like I said, is the most obvious example, but Chavez Brown has been playing well. In the back end, I think Quentin Hammonds has come on as a true freshman high school receiver. I think he was at Allen, so he's gained a lot of experience this year. When he first started playing against like Memphis and those kind of teams, he looked pretty shaky, but he's come on. So defense, it'll be fun to see with the guys we have, that hopefully they can put together at least a semblance of resistance against McLeod, who good quarterback, but he has thrown 12 picks this year, and he's thrown 2 picks each of the last 2 games. He's thrown 2 picks in 4 different games this year, so he's susceptible to turnover. So I think that's something that's going to be a key to watch. If obvious football insight here, but you turn guys over, you got a better chance at winning. So hopefully we can do that. Flipping to the offensive side of the ball, obviously the big loss here for us is Chandler Morris. Great season statistically, one of the best in school history, but also was seemed to be pretty compromised after the Tulane game, and taking that big hit and getting knocked out. Just really wasn't the same. Last game against Temple, 21 out of 40 for 180 yards and a touchdown. But the first drive, he was 6 of 6 for 65 yards and that touchdown. So after the first drive, Morris was 15 out of 34 for like 115 yards. So it was rough. And, we talked about the defensive performance against Temple. Part of it was just the offense was not doing anything. And it was kind of hard the defense. What I was more impressed with is that they stepped up when we needed them. And, they got the stop at the end there, interception. And we needed everything we got from the defense that game. I think the second half shutout. And, you give up 1 touchdown and it's going to overtime and maybe no bowl game. So, what are you guys looking at, offensively with, no Chandler Morris, Drew Mestamaker stepping in?
I talked first last time, so Carter, you go ahead.
Ooh, anytime there's a QB shakeup, I get a little butterfly in my stomach. It's always fun to see what the potential is there. I like Drew Mestamaker as a prospect. He's skilled. He's got good dual threat capability. I really am excited to see what he does against a bowl eligible Division I team, because he only played in spurts this year, really whenever Chandler Morris got hurt. So it's fun to see him get the opportunity. I've kind of kept up on Twitter, and it's like his whole high school and like his whole community that he comes from is all really excited for him. So that's always the fun part of it. As far as like his weapons go, it's gonna stink. We're missing DT Sheffield, my guy, and Oscar Hammond, my main guy, who I picked as my like adopted player of the year. A little sad that did not transpire the way I had hoped it would. I thought Oscar Hammond had it, and he just won't have it here. But that's fine. I don't know. I think that the offense, it's Eric Morris is the QB whisperer, as we say. I think Texas State lost a lot. Well, I know they lost a lot of games really close this year. So they're really well coached, and I think like 5 of their losses were all like 5 points or less or something. I'm not really sure. I glanced at their schedule earlier. I didn't note it down, but Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's obviously going to be the big key, right? That's what we've kind of relied on to win games this year, is scoring enough points to keep us in games because the defense has been performing so poorly. So, uh, it'll be exciting. It's going to be some new faces. Like I said though, my main goal this year is a bowl win, and I really want to see some guys step up and get us that victory because we're like for our last 8 in postseason games. We really need a win. I want to see a new face that we are not accustomed to stepping up. So I know this is a big opportunity for Mestamaker. Obviously, with the transfer portal, we may end up with somebody better at QB next year, but this is a big game for some guys to prove themselves, and that's kind of the if there is a silver lining to the whole NIL transfer portal mess that we're living through right now. It's that it does give a lot of guys opportunities to make a name for themselves when they get it. So yeah, as far as offenses go, or as far as our offense goes, I think it'll be hopefully on par with what we've come to expect this year. But um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just going to be an exciting game of a lot of new faces, and that's the most entertaining aspect for me in bowl games.
Yeah, I think that sort of counterintuitively, I don't want to say happy to see Chandler Morris goes, but I think it's a silver lining in that he hadn't been playing well, like, as you mentioned. And I think that he was pressing a lot. Like that Army game was a classic example of it, where if he played like he played against South Alabama, we walk down the field and get a couple scores, right? And that game's completely different. And maybe even the season's completely different. That Chandler Morris, I went on the Virginia podcast. I basically said the same thing. It's like he's good. He can run an offense, but he tries. He also does a negative gunslinger thing, right? Like, oh, let me try to fit a ball in, or let me go for the home run ball, or like I think that interception against UTSA, that first one where he had. Yeah. I was like, what are you doing, right? The corner was dropping away from him. You just take the space, right? And that's a guy that's not reading the game. That's what you want. And I think a freshman corner, right? What are you worried about? He's not going to read the game. Well, our starting quarterback was not reading the game as well as because we know it's a kid. So I think he's also going to be. He's not going to be a hero, right? He's like, hey, you know what? Check down. I'm supposed to check down. I'm supposed to read, check down, right? Find grass, go here, right? He's going to do that, and I think this offense works best when the QBs are just doing what they're supposed to do. And like there's time and there's space for other things, but I think this offense really just needs to get the ball to playmakers and let everybody go do their thing. And we'll see a little bit more Miles Coleman, right? To your point, Carter, other guys, new names, new faces. Like Landon Sides is a proven D1 wide receiver, right? Wyatt Young has done some good things. Miles Coleman has done some good things, right? Damon Ward is he's had a month to recover and maybe relearned how to catch a little bit, right? It's not like they're not weapons out there, right? And we already know that our running back room is going to be Shane Porter and McGill, and then a ghost running back, I guess, is what we're going to try to go with. Just whoever's out there. Maybe they'll have a contest. Billy, Sierra, you come down. We need you on a 4th and 1. But
he can do it.
Yeah, so like it's not like they're not weapons out there, and all you have to do is just throw this pass that you've been throwing all season long. When they do the routes on air drills, and this thing where they have 5 quarterbacks throwing the thing, Mestamaker has shown enough that he can do that. He can run the play. Hey, we're running 92 wheel, post wheel. Okay, I know that, right? Look for this, look for the post, look the mesh, throw the backs, and then get out of the way, right? Get the ball out, let guys make a play. If he can do that, it's fine. I think the air raid QB can throw for 250 yards and have a bad game. We do that as long as he's not throwing interceptions, not hanging on the ball too long, looking for hero stuff. We'll be fine. So I'm okay with the quarterback. Are we going to put up 45? Probably not, but I think we can reasonably get 20, 28. Everybody else is
sure.
Like Mercer is probably going to be our best player that we lost, but Hammond's been out. To your point. Our quarterback hasn't been great, and then DT Sheffield's dropped like 3 or 4 passes that were huge in the past few weeks. So, like I said, it's not like we're losing our 1,000-yard, the guy that was just coming off 300-yard game, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even with Mercer, Jet Duncan, I think fractured his wrist in the ECU pregame warmup, and then so he didn't play those last 2 games. He's back at center, which to me is about a wash. I mean, at maybe even a little bit of an upgrade. So, and then Gabe Blair, last starter from 2021 to 2023 at left guard. He's supposed to be available and playing. He was in the transfer portal briefly and, sat out all season, and then now he's back. So that's a boost. I think this might be a little bit of a hot take, but I think this could be our best offensive line of the season, like our best individual lineup. Because if you have Braden Nelson, freshman left tackle who started at guard, I think he's been coming on and learning how to play left tackle, which is not easy, especially as a true freshman who you recruited as a guard. Yeah. Then you got Gabe Blair back. You've got Jet Duncan back at center. You've got Landon Peterson at right tackle, who he's missed some time. Eric Morris has talked about him being pretty much our highest graded offensive tackle this season. 6'6" guy. It's a quality size, not just a guy who's big. And then the guys who've been holding it down at guard, Dixon and Vaipulu, kind of having more of a rotational role instead of having to be the guy every single play. So I think this might set up as being maybe our best offensive line group for any game this season because we've been so banged up there. I think that hopefully means we can lean more on the run game and give Mestamaker a little bit of an easier time. But one of the things that I think is kind of my favorite development, like you said, the silver lining is one, Morris wasn't playing great. He was clearly physically compromised. I mean, you look at some of the throws that he skipped, well short of receivers that just looked like the arm, shoulder, whatever was just not where it needed to be physically. If you've been following high school football at all, our quarterback signee, Chris Jimerson, led North Crowley to a 16-0 season in a state championship. Mm-hmm. And, it got a lot of people excited. A lot of people are saying, oh, like that's our QB of the future after, Poffenbarger. But, I think Jimerson, obviously the deal with him is we got him because he's about 5'9", and there's not a lot of 5'9" FBS quarterbacks. We were the only one who wanted him as a quarterback. Everybody else wanted him as a receiver, which is pretty standard at that height. But, the point is we got him, and I think a lot of fans are kind of saying, all right, well, there's our next guy. But, Mestamaker has proven, himself clearly in practice, like Adam was saying. And, he's a true freshman. He retained his redshirt eligibility this year. So he's he could be the QB of the future just as easily as Jimerson. But either way, it's going to be a good chance to get to see what we have in him. And, an opportunity that we wouldn't have had a chance to see him had, Morris stayed for this bowl game. So to me, that's the biggest thing is what does our future quarterback situation look like? This is going to help give us more substance to kind of chew on in that regard than anything we would have had otherwise. Also, like one other thing that I like about Mestamaker, and this is just small, maybe reading way too much into it, might not mean anything, but a lot of the clips that they've shown of him and like the football, like whatever stuff film they released from practice footage is like, it seems like a lot of his highlights are all like in the team portion. There's not a lot of him just kind of throwing, passing skeleton on air. Like he looks like he's in the pocket, delivering a good ball with the pass rush coming and, guys covering his receiver and putting the ball where it needs to be. So I think he is, he knows how to play with the speed of the game. He's not going to be, maybe he will be, but it looks like he knows how to play. His mental acuity is there.
The bright lights of the first responder bowl might not get to him getting it. So
exactly.
I think he had a couple of drives and then he didn't really do a whole lot, but like throw a switch to Miles Coleman against Texas Tech. But that's something, right? Like that is more than spring practice. That is more than whatever. That's he led a drive and there was like 40,000 people in there, however many people were in there. And then the other thing too is like, I think we all saw it, that Shane Porter looked good on that drive, right? Against Texas Tech.
Right.
And I was like, man, look at him running hard. He looked good. And that carried over. We've seen him, after that point, he got a lot of carries, right? Some of those injuries or whatever, but he won the starting job of whoever was there and he continued to hold it, right? Like Kiefer Sibley didn't, Zach Evans, nobody knows what happened to that guy, but he didn't, right? Like all this other stuff. It's not worth nothing. Mestamaker stepped in and he looked good enough. And I think that's a little bit, right? We don't have a whole lot to look at, right? We have doing partial DNA analysis or something like that. It's kind of like, whatever. But what we can read of the available evidence suggests that Mestamaker is a solid enough quarterback. And like I said, we don't need him to lead us for a whole season where he'll get figured out, right, for being a freshman quarterback.
Right.
It's one game. You have a whole month preparing game, one game plan against, a Texas State defense. It's like you said, it's a little compromised. Some guys are gone, and you don't know what you're gonna say. So I don't think it's terrible. I'm excited. I'm hyped. I'm hyped about the game.
I will throw one prediction related to our passing game is that I think we're going to see at least one pass by a non-quarterback. So, Wyatt Young maybe, but I think there's going to be at least, there's going to be some kind of, trickeration / like way to kind of manufacture some like passing game besides just saying, hey, true freshman, go drop back 40 times and get us, 300 yards and 3 scores. Like I think there's going to be some creativity there. And, again, we talked about, it's been almost a month since the team's played. That's been good for getting the guys healthy. And I think, Drew Messamaker is not stepping in, mid-game or even like with only 1 week to prepare for, all of a sudden he's the starter. Like he's had a month basically to be the guy in practice, getting all the first team reps. So, I think that's something of note as well in, kind of having a little bit more confidence that he can at least step in and be competent for this one game, this one important game. So, I think that's my prediction is we throw at least one pass by a non QB in order to, in addition to the run game, kind of giving him more help and maybe even running him more than he ran Morris, because Morris, you didn't want to run him, you wanted to keep him healthy. So, I think those are all kind of things that I'm looking out for. And I think again, it's not going to be the same offense that it was with Chandler Morris. Materially, it will be, but I think the differences will be noticeable.
Yeah, I mean, like Jalen Morris was good at the RPO game. I don't know how much Messamaker is going to do a lot of that RPO stuff. Mm-hmm. I think some of that is just built into the offense. Right. Like it's just kind of like, hey, when we go tempo, this is one of our runs. Because I was looking at something where like Noel Mazzone, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. He like part of his deal is like when they go tempo, he just tells his guys get in a 3-by-1 look. And then we're going to run what he calls, Zorro Zulu, which is basically inside zone with the quarterback. And so they're just automatic unless they check to something else. And so I think that there's a little bit RPO stuff in there, but it's easily taken away, right? You just say, you know what? I don't want you looking at 3 different guys or this second level guy. Just look at in-man line of scrimmage, and we'll just run it, a zone read and then duck down. Or you can just change it instead of a little – like, was it that everybody's talking about that Texas play, that wheel route? Was it the QB slide one where they do the post wheel thing where you have 2 reads on that play? Well, now you just read one guy and then throw a little bubble, right? That's been a staple of high school offenses for like 20 years now.
Yeah.
You can do something like that if you wanted just to simplify it. And like I said, simplifying now for quarterbacks is a lot more complicated than even it was, 20, 30 years ago. So something that he's run 1,000 times and he doesn't have to think too much or hasn't, like, hey, they're lining up differently. The front looks different. That's not going to be too crazy for him. I don't know how crazy Texas State gets. I think they just get good pressure. They don't do a whole lot of complicated stuff.
And
run a lot of 45 stuff. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just say, and I think one thing to note about Mestamaker is that he wasn't even the starter for his high school team. He played for Vandegrift, who just won a state championship. He was, Miles Coleman in school. So, I think even, I'm sure he's still run it 1,000 times, but, even just kind of, like you said, reading that end man on the line of scrimmage and seeing if he's crashing down or if he's staying tight, like even that, you kind of wonder how much experience, like how second nature is that to him, as opposed to, a high school quarterback who has, 3 years of starting experience and, 2,000 career rushing yards and has run that play, 20 times a game for, 13 games a year or whatever. So, that's something that's interesting to see is that, how second nature is some of this and how much do they need to simplify things. I think, again, he's been the QB2 all season. He's been practicing. He knows the offense. It's just going to be, like you said, are the bright lights of Highland Park going to be a little too much? I think, like you said, simplifying it simplifying offense for a young quarterback is different now than it once was.
Like Carter said it right. You said about like we trust Eric Morris to be a QB whisperer. I mean, he found Cam Ward, who was running the option, right? Like we're just running all the time, and he translated. Like I think his first year at UIW, he threw like 30 touchdowns or something like that, something crazy. Like if you think this guy's smart enough to do this and capable enough to do this, he's a backup quarterback, right? And he was a backup to a guy that's been at Oklahoma, TCU, and has thrown for 400 yards against Baylor before. So it made sense that Chandler Morris is a better option. But I trust him, right? He liked Mestamaker enough to bring him on the team, let him walk on, win the backup job, and then right now declare him the guy. He has a good track record, so I think we can assume all those questions are answered.
Yeah.
He's not going to say, all right, let's run this play. And then he's like, I don't know if he's going to do it. Does he know where the end man is? No, he's going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
He'll be all right.
Yeah, agreed. Carter, anything else that you're looking at this game specifically, maybe have an eye on or matchup, anything like that, player from our side?
Man, bowl games are such a crapshoot now. I mean, it's hard for I don't want to say I'm not excited for it because I am, but it's like the whole meaning and the nature of these games has completely shifted, and now to I just want to see something new. Just roll out something new. Just new face, like I just said, like my last point. I just want to see new faces pop up. Adam immediately touched on it. We have a lot of guys like White Young and Landon Sides who could definitely have an impact in this game, and some guys who maybe at certain points this season haven't really been in the spotlight. So I think bowl games at this point, if you're a program like North Texas, are all about momentum, and you just want to look competitive in them. It's nice to win them once in a while, but they don't mean the same thing they used to. So yeah, I think it's all about just proving that you can compete with a team like Texas State. I know we're kind of in the same boat with them. I know we did lose pretty badly to UTSA, but a couple of our losses were close. So
hold on, Carter, real quick. I want to push back on something. So would you say, because this is how the way I see it, like do you feel like a lot of the things with the bowl games now is I feel like the outside perception has definitely shifted, but I feel like internally, like among like fans and among the team, like the bowl games still matter. Do you kind of see it that way, where it's more of like the outside perception isn't what it used to be, but like as far as like the teams themselves and like the product that they can put on.
Yeah, I mean, I think they still matter to programs of our size.
Yeah.
I think the higher up you go on the totem pole, it matters less and less.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think Georgia particularly is losing sleep about losing to Notre Dame today because their quarterback. I know people make jokes about Carson Beck, but they're missing their QB1. And it's kind of a crapshoot game for them because of the injuries they're dealing with. So it's like, I definitely think it matters more. It obviously matters for the players and coaches. Like you want to win every time you go step out on the field. These guys are, same thing as professional sports. Like nobody's going to tank. Nobody is out there to lose. So, I'm not a player, so I can't speak for them, but I do think that they obviously care. I just think that the onus is on these guys who aren't in the spotlight all year to step up and make an opportunity, because it's easier now for guys to opt out of bowl games and the rosters just to get shaken up. To me, that's the most important thing now is like I said, you want to carry momentum. You want to see who can make plays. Texas State is a good litmus test of, hey, can you perform well against this team? Great. You're going to have an opportunity to play against, Navy next year.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of faces I want to see pop up. I'd love to see Landon Sides have a year like he did last year, because he did not really do much of anything this year. So players like that, that's my main focus in games like these at this point is like, how can you carry that momentum into next season? And that's the main thing I'm focused on. So.
Yeah, I got a few hot sports opinions about it. Like one, I think for fans, right, it's like, I think you touched on this before in like the message boards. It's like, do you like football? Right? I like football. I like watching football. Probably watch too much football. I didn't watch a lot of the bowl games. this past week because I would have watched all of the bowl games, and I was like, I probably should spend time with my family. You know, I got a daughter; she's learning to crawl and stuff. I was like, I probably should do that. But I love football. I think that you can get into all the details of it. It's a fascinating game, right? Like I think there's not even to get too crazy about it, but like we used to train young men to practice war, and this is as close as we can get to it. And it's normal, like this is all you can get. You're like, go out there. In fact, you got little battle plans, and everybody's going to go do this. There's a lot of that stuff, and people like, you know, you got a bunch of old guys that set up their Napoleon battles and can talk about the details. They got their artillery this way, and you get this way. You get your cavalry going. There's a lot of same stuff. And people are like, well, you get a speed guy here, right? You attack that overhang, and you can really get him. Then boom, you get that B gap. He's going this way. I like running against the three technique this way because you get to get him, you move him over. You guys get excited about it, right? You listen to them talk about it. So there's all kinds of stuff that people get into about it. I love that part of football. There's a lot of the other stuff there too. I like my school. So every chance we get to play a game, I think it's precious because there's only right. What are we? Yeah. It's 13. You only get 13 of them, right, in the season, and that's it, and it's over with. And it's the whole summer. We talk about what it could be. We're talking about the transfer portal. So what? So when September comes around next season, we get to talk. We can watch the gameplay. And so this is the last one we have. And you don't get it. There's not a whole lot of them, right? Basketball, there's 30 games. Right? Football, there's only the 13 if you're lucky. Right? We would have been done already. It would have been it. So I think you got to get excited about it, even if it's just the first responder bowl. It's easier to get excited about some teams than it is others, but I think there's a baseline care about it. And I think if you compare it to the Georgias and the LSUs and all the other ones, it's silly, but it does mean more. They care about it more because they're like, hey, Georgia, we didn't play well against whoever, right? We're like, well, we just got to do okay, and then maybe we can get some people to show what we have to care about it. And it feels a little crazy because we're normal people and they're crazy over there in Georgia. But if we want to compete with the crazies, you got to be a little crazy with them, right? We got to be to that level. We're not going to be in the college football playoff if we don't care about North Texas the way that they care about Georgia. And they care about Georgia way more than we care about, North Texas. And that is a fact. The other part is that I do think the players really like to play. And then as I get older, I always tell this all the time. I think everybody should join a rec league, especially if you have hot sports opinions on a message board. Join a rec league because then you see maybe it's a little harder to get up every week and go do the thing, right? It's a little hard. Even if you play like an old man league, I don't know, playing a 40 plus, I don't know, basketball league where there's no running or something. I don't know. Pick something where you got to go compete every week. You see, hey, it's not so easy to do that, and then sometimes you have an off game and it's a little harder to criticize, like, well, how can you miss such an easy whatever, because you're human and sometimes it is hard. So there's a little bit of that, and I do see a little bit of that again, right? Because I play a lot of rec league stuff. Is that some of those older guys, you got some guys out there that are in great shape, but they're like 50 or something. Yeah, I don't know about that, but then they hurt their knee and they're like, I don't know how many more games. You can see it in his face, right? He's like, I don't know how many more years I can play this game. Right, it's harder and harder to come out here and play with these. Right now, I got maybe 3 minutes in me, but I don't even know if I have that anymore. Well, once it's over for a lot of these guys, right? You look up and down this roster. For a lot of these guys, you say about 90% of the roster, they're not playing past, their eligibility. It's over with. And again, you only get to 13. So for us, go support them, and for them, if they have any, wisdom about them, they're gonna play hard because this is all they get, right? This is the precious. This is it. It's over with. I think a good portion of everybody played their last high school game. And you're like, I probably should have appreciated that a little bit more because that was it.
Dude, you got me ready to run through a wall right now.
Well, it's good. I mean, this is it. We can't go run for them, but we could cheer them on, right? We can get loud on third down. We can be smarter about the game so we can appreciate when they do a good thing. Because right now we're like, was that good? Well, did you see how the guy executed his assignment? Did you see how he did a crackback block? Did you see how we executed the fake? Did you see that the lineman got his hand in the right spot and pushed the right way? And if we can appreciate that, that's how we can be better. We can be better fans to appreciate what they're doing. Then they can see it like, I work real hard. And you guys don't really understand it. You're just like, win or lose, and that's all that matters. Like, yes, that's the most important thing, but also, hey, you know what? I could see that this player got better because he was not doing this well, and now he's doing that well. every time. It doesn't show up in the stat sheet. We don't see it, right? Not to rag on maybe certain beat writers, but they're just like, like what is the top level thing, the most obvious thing that we can call out, and that's all we can see, right? And that's where we're talking to everybody else. We can be better and say, you know what? The DE, he's getting great penetration, allowing the linebacker to come and scrape over the edge. When they do that scrape exchange, that linebacker is making all those tackles because the DE is crashing hard and he's making the right reads. Great stuff by that guy, right? We can be better. We can appreciate that kind of stuff. And I think that's what helps the team. That's what we're going to do tomorrow. At least that's the plan. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, I gotta. Before we do score predictions, I got a bonus topic. I don't know, something that Adam was saying in some of the fervor kind of had made me think about this. What is your opinion on, especially when he talked about Georgia? What is your opinion on how hard or not hard people are allowed to root for a school that they didn't attend?
I'm gonna be nastier about this one, so Adam, you can go first.
No. You go for it. I want to hear the nasty.
Yeah.
I think okay. Here's my heart. Like, I have a hardcore set of rules here. You can cheer for whoever you want. Like, I don't care if you are born in like Austin, Texas, and you cheer for Ohio State. Like, whatever. I don't care. But if you do not attend the university that you are cheering for, you are not allowed to talk shit to fans of other teams.
Yeah.
In any sort of way. Now, if you pay, even if you didn't pay, even if you attended the school, you got the degree, whatever, you get full shit talking rights. Like, college football is the most fun sport in the world because like the fan bases are so just rancid and like insane to each other. That's the best part of the whole sport. But you got to earn it. You got to earn that. It doesn't come with just putting on a t-shirt. So I don't care who people cheer for, but you got to earn the trash talking aspect.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll say that I grew up a University of Texas fan, right? Like, I was, college football. Okay, who do we root for? There's a Texas team that's gonna be my team, and I rooted for them for a long time. I attended University of North Texas, and so I made my break. I was like, well, obviously, I have to root for my school, my program. I have like I sort of, when the game's over and I'm like, all right, let me go check who's winning. On Texas OU Day, I'm rooting for Texas. I'm not rooting for Oklahoma. Yeah. But that's whatever. I don't own any UT things. If it comes down to it, North Texas is playing and Texas is playing, I'm watching North Texas because that's my team. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy for me. I don't think about that. I totally agree with what you're saying there. Like, I mean, I'm not going to go talk mess to Oklahoma fans, but I also am a football fan. So I think, Texas is playing in the college football playoff. I was watching that game but I was also watching Ohio State and Oregon, and I have, like subsets of all that. I'm like, I like Chip Kelly. I was kind of sort of rooting for Ohio State offense a little bit, but I like Dan Lanning. I like, what I mean? So there's little things I'm rooting for. I hate Georgia. I was rooting against Georgia, but I mean, I'm not going to go talk mess to anybody. It's like, well, whatever. I just don't. I'm rooting against the SEC, so that's kind of what my whole thing was.
There you go.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, I'm in the same boat with Carter. Yeah. Wait, what did you say?
I wanted to hear your answer.
Yeah, no, Adam has poked fun at me wearing a Tennessee Vols shirt before, so he did. I mean, so like, I grew up in Tennessee, or I didn't grow up there, but I lived there for the first like 8 years of my life, and like, so I was a big Tennessee fan, and like, you get Tennessee stuff from people or whatever, and like, so like people still like remember me being like a Tennessee fan in high school and stuff like that. So like, I like them like in the same capacity that Adam's talking about. But the shit talking thing is, like Carter said, is my exact same logic. Like, both of my bosses went to A&M. Like, Tennessee played A&M in the College World Series, and I was like, same thing. Like, I was rooting for Tennessee, but I'm not gonna like talk shit to you about it. Like, I'm a UNT guy, so I mean, I think it's okay to have that healthy fan of the sport, or secondary team, whatever. But like, I think there's at the end of the day, there's real skins on the wall in some cases, and there's cases where there's not. And I think that's relevant to whatever conversations are had amongst fans. So, but I think that's part of the thing I like about Texas State and UNT game is that Eric Morris was talking about it, and he said something in the press conference about, it'll be great, for Texas State alumni and UNT alumni to go out and support their team. Like it was like he was kind of basically admitting it's a foregone conclusion that anybody who's watching that game is an alumni. So like there's not like the casual Texas State fan who's just like from Dallas or the surrounding area who's like, oh cool, I get to go to watch my favorite college team that I didn't go to that school. Like it's an alumni. You have that tension where it's like, okay, like I went to school there, you went to school here, like our schools are going at it. There's no like t-shirt fandom going on. It's real deal stuff. So there's still some beauty in that, I think, and part of why I think this bowl matchup is fun. But go ahead and do I guess score predictions.
Go ahead, Carter. You go first.
Adam, I'm on board with you. I think that the points allotment for us in this game probably ends up in like the 24 to 28 range, maybe 30. That is probably best case. I don't see us scoring 45-50 in this game, just with all the faces we're missing. The identity of the Mean Green all year has pretty much been DT Sheffield and Chandler Morris, and those two guys are gone. So it's a different team coming out tomorrow, but also kind of the same but different. I'm going to stick with a close-ish loss. I think maybe Texas State pulls away a little late. I'm going to say we drop this one 40-24. That's going to be my score prediction. I think Texas State scores late to make it look a little bit wider than it is. But I'm going to say 40-24, we lose.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Just one note on the thing, because I grew up near Texas State. That's why I enjoy kind of talking mess, because they assume that we don't know anything about them. Blake was like, yeah, I kind of know. That's why I like throwing the Alamo thing at them, and whatever. I basically a lot of the same stuff. I think they're more complete offense. They do a lot of the same stuff that we do, but I don't know that helps us any, right? Like you can see that they move the defense's eyes around. They're going to have like extra trick plays. They do kind of get in some self-caused mistakes, like situations, but I think we haven't forced anybody except like Temple to do that kind of thing. Like I felt the same way. It was like say what do they call them? Like ECU. They kind of did some of that, but ECU they didn't look bad against us, right? So I feel like it's going to be like 38-24, something like that, where they pull away late, or they do that thing where they blow us out and then we sort of catch up to them later on. I think maybe best case scenario is a little bit like that Boise State Penn State game where the final score is like more of a blowout, but the actual game you're watching, you're like, hey, it's not so terrible. There were some chances there where they could do some things. Yeah. I think we'll be all right. What do you say, Billy?
Yeah, I'm gonna say 24-34 the bad guys. Yeah, I think we all said 24 for like that. That seems like the right amount of points that we're gonna score. Like we're gonna have some good moments, but then ultimately we got a true person up the field.
It's one good drive where maybe we pull out that like halfback pass or something. That's one Shane Porter like 50-yard run, and then some other TD that we manufacture somehow, some way, and that about smells right, and then we can get some other drive. Like you can't say, well, hey, if they're playing off coverage, Best of Maker's going to pick them apart, and it's going to be fight. You can't really see that. I don't know how we're going to do a lot of the other stuff. Mm-hmm. We still have the same squad, right? We didn't get any Heisman Trophy winners joining the squad over the last month, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, you heard it here.
Maybe
first.
Next year.
Hey, so will y'all be at the? Where can we find you guys at the game? How will y'all be experiencing the game, or even talking about the game while at the game?
I'm just I'm probably going to be a game time attendee. I'll be there, but no pregame festivities, unfortunately.
Carter, how are you going to be experiencing the game?
I am going to price gauge the tick pick market, and we'll see if I can get those $80 tickets to drop down to maybe $30 or $40 at kickoff tomorrow. I am currently in Denton, America, so we'll see. I am available and ready if the team needs me, but I need those ticket prices to drop a little bit. Personally, not trying to blow $100 to go watch us probably lose by 2 touchdowns. As much as I love this team, but yeah, we'll see. It's kind of up in the air right now. I do have a nice cozy couch at my house that I can kick my feet up on and just sit back with a beer and watch it on TV.
You know,
So we'll see.
you go tailgate outside the game and watch it on your phone.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. I did kind of tell myself that 2023 would be the last time I ever step foot in that dog shit stadium. And I kind of intend to hold true to that, but you know what? Life throws curveballs, so we'll see. We'll see.
Bonus is we're on the big ESPN this time.
Yeah, I was at.
That's true.
I haven't seen us win at Smooth Stadium, but I did see Mager throwing for a lot of yards against them at one time. I think it's like at SMU. I will be at the game. I will be sort of half in the press box and half with my family. They're like, "Are you going to be up there in the press box again?" I was like, "Well, yeah, I have the credentials." So yes, and then they're like, kind of look at me. I was like, "All right, I'll split the difference." And I did this. It's easier to do in basketball than it is in football because like football, you got to go all the way down and kind of go. But I do want to be able to talk. Haven't been able to interview Eric Morris all season or at all. So I kind of do want to be at least able to do that. And then there's also I'm too old and busted now to rush any fields. So if we do get an upset here, I won't be able to do that. But if I have a pass, I will be able to do that. Just be on the field. So that would be kind of sweet. I was on the field for the last one that we won. I was also there for the Troy blowout, and that was not fun. That was decidedly less fun.
That's where I met you, my man. That was where you and I met.
At which one? The
Troy.
Oh, the yes, I do remember. Yeah, the New Orleans Bowl. I still have the press swag from the New Orleans Bowl, the power bank.
Hey,
shout out New Orleans Bowl. That's all I got. I think we'll be all right. I'm excited about it. We'll be tweeting about it. I'm excited to see it, to read everybody's hot sports opinions. It's on big ESPN. I'm excited.
Yep. All right. Well, if you made it almost an hour in, thank you, and hope you're able to make it tomorrow. And we'll have some more off-season stuff coming up, basketball too. So got plenty of topics to keep us busy. But in the meantime, hope we pull this one out tomorrow and go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh wait. Yeah, sorry, Adam. Plugs.
Oh, well, again, meangreenNation.com. There's the X. I call it Twitter still, but there's a site. And then we've been trying to do more YouTube for people that like the YouTube. I know you guys do the YouTube too. So, after you're done watching this one, then you can go over to the Mean Green Nation channel and watch that one.
That's right. All right. Thanks, everyone. Go Mean Green again.
Go Mean Green again.